Now here's dynamic David Coleman.
Yeah. No applause, just money, please. Just money. Dynamic David Coleman in the house. Give you a quick number, 501-433-0088. We're getting to that time of the year where I'm hoping you're going to be using those phone number or that phone number quite often. A lot of stuff to talk about, man. Hey, having a good time. It's hot in Little Rock, Arkansas. Hello to all the people streaming me live on my Facebook page. If you want to do that, go to Dynamic or go to David W. Coleman. Well, just go to David W. Coleman. And then, of course, you can do it. And we're going to start streaming from my website again here eventually. So we'll get that set up. Just been busy. So take it easy where you're at. That's basically what I'm doing. But then, of course, you can go to Google Plus. If you're part of Google Plus, you can look for the Weekly Sports Magazine. And I'm there as well. So a lot of ways you can get in touch with me. Also, you can go out to kabf.org, or certainly if you're an old timer, you can tune in via radio 88.3 FM every Thursday. And a lot of crazy stuff going on just before we get into football season. And we'll get into that. And unfortunately, I am going to have to talk about deflategate. Okay, I am. If you've noticed, if you've been following the show the last month or so, and even by the time when it broke, I didn't talk a lot about it, but that's going to be my dynamic dish for today, coming up at 5:40, 5:45, somewhere. Okay, so I am going to talk about that. I know, but I do sports. I am in the media, and I'm gonna throw my 2 cents in, and you all can decide from there. And of course, you have your own say on what you think about it as well. But we'll talk about that. We'll do a little follow up on the Anton Beard, Ja'Cory Williams, and Dustin Thomas arrest last week and subsequent bail. Their trial comes up about August 24th. At least it's a preliminary hearing. We'll talk a little bit about, we're going to do this too. We'll mention some Major League Baseball trades that are taking place today. It's midnight tonight, if I remember correctly. So we'll give you some updates. It's some interesting ones. I'm getting to the point now, this time of the year, I will begin to talk a little baseball. Okay? Because you're getting close to the playoffs, and now you can get serious. Hey, man, it's 162 games. I'm not about to follow all that. We want to talk a little bit about Russell Williams, Russell Wilson, I should say. He's waiting on the contract, and training camp starts this week. What's the deal on that? Ohio State suspends 4. We'll get into that. Of course, Donnie Tyndall, former UT coach, University of Tennessee coach, was at Southern Miss prior to that. He has been hit with level 1 sanctions. Interesting, as well as Larry Brown at SMU. There are some allegations that have come to light with that. So those are a few of the headlines. And of course, if you saw my Facebook page, I do want to talk a little bit about what happens this time of the year with ex-football players when you walk by freshly mown grass. It's kind of weird. And by the way, it's hot outside. The question of the day, I would say, are today's athletes as tough as the old school athletes? I'll include myself. I played a little sports back in the day. And I was just thinking, when I went to SAU, Southern Arkansas University, my freshman year, we had 3-a-days. Okay, some of these cats, they're having like one practice a day, and it's in the mornings. Now I know most of the time. Well, I mean, we look at around here, it's going to be hot for the whole month of September. It probably won't, unless we have strange weather, but it probably won't get cold until October, mid-October. So I mean, I'm just asking the question. It's nothing serious, but I just wonder. And the reason I brought this up, me and my brother were talking about this the other day. A lot of these kids, back in the day, when you were sitting around the house and didn't have anything to do, Mama, I'm bored. Well, take your butt outside and play. Go find something to do. Go out in the yard. Go cut the yard in the heat of the day. Now these kids sit around and play PlayStation 4 or Xbox under the air conditioning. And a lot of houses back in the day, I had friends who didn't have AC. You'd see everybody camped around the different fans. I'm just asking. So those are some of the things that we're going to talk about today. Of course, if you want to call in and weigh in. Oh, by the way, I need to remind you, of course, that Greg Poe, and we're expecting Tim Swift today as well. And hopefully we'll get Larry Ridley. Basketball season has finally wound down, so we may not get Larry unless he wants to come in on some other things, and we'll get him. And I know he's probably doing some late work as it relates to the Madden. But Larry is the big guy when it comes to Madden, so probably more on that. So those are some of the things that we're going to talk about today, and a lot more. I gotta, I haven't even done a lot of research on what's going on around, college basketball, but there's some interesting things happening with that as well. And of course, like I said, we're going to talk a little football, lots of football, lots of college football. This is the place to do it as well. So hey, I'm gonna go out and take my first break. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on KABF 88.3 FM.
Money would you be willing to pay? $50, $100, $500 maybe? How about just $10? My name is David W. Coleman, and in conjunction with a Father's Family Affair, we've launched the 100 for 10 to 1K scholarship campaign. We need 100 people to donate $10 to assist a young father with a college tuition. Just $10. Go to afathersfamilyaffair.com now to make a tax-deductible donation. Your small tax-deductible gift of $10 can make the difference in a young father furthering his education as opposed to a minimum wage job. Your $10 can make the difference in a young father dropping out or completing his degree for him and his family. Please give to the 100 for 10 to 1K scholarship campaign today. It's just $10. Make that tax-deductible donation at afathersfamilyaffair.com right now.
If you're looking for a place to hold a special birthday or anniversary celebration, graduation party, or wedding reception, or even if you're looking just to have an intimate private dinner, then you should consider Lady K's Place. Lady K's Place is the perfect place to hold your event. Located 303 Phillips Road in North Little Rock in Rose City. For more information and a tour, call 501-765-8481. That's 501-765-8481. Lady K's Place.
Round ball, check. Hard ball, check. Hockey puck, check. Burning rubber, check. We got it all on the Weekly Sports Magazine with Greg Poe. What else do you need? Did I say food? Can't have sports without food. That kind of show is it.
Yeah, we do have it all.
Welcome back to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave. I'm here every Thursday afternoon. Just sitting back, relaxing, enjoying a little sports. Hey, by the way, I do play the best old school music. Funk music, that is. Thank you for joining me. We're having a good time here. No, by the way, I did go out and look at a couple of things here. The USA Today coaches poll. Have you seen it? There are like 8 SEC schools in there. And by the way, Razorback fans, Arkansas is ranked number 20. Now here's the killer thing about it. Arkansas plays all of the schools that are ranked, the 8 other schools except for one. And that's Georgia. Then of course they can't play themselves. So 6 of the 8 SEC schools that are ranked, Arkansas is playing. That's why I'm saying I don't think they're going to be that good this year, because they've got a tough schedule. That's, if they come out, 9-4, well 9-3, somewhere there, 9-4 with a bowl win would be a great season. That means BA, as they like to call him, Brandon Allen, he's had an MVP season. Do you expect that out of him? Have you seen any flashes of brilliance from Brandon Allen in his entire career at the University of Arkansas? I'm just asking. I know a lot of people like him. He's probably a nice young man. And don't misconstrue when you talk about someone's ability in their sport that you are talking about them personally. That's not what I'm doing. I'm simply saying that since he's been there, I haven't seen him show any flashes. I'm just saying. And I've been asking the question, and I'm gonna find out. We're gonna get to the headlines in a moment, but I'm gonna find out what the hell happened to Central Arkansas football. I mean, I've been gone for over 35 years. When I left, Central Arkansas football dominated everything. Parkland, Hall, Central, North Little Rock every now and then. But Central Arkansas football, it's just amazing to me what has happened. And I know some of the typical answers is going to be they defunded them. They're not funding them at all. A lot of the other outlying schools are getting funding. And of course, they may be just one school that attracts a number of individuals. So they've got one school board that's funding that high school. I don't know, but what has happened to Central Arkansas football is beyond me. And part of the problem with the Razorbacks, if you're not getting the best talent, or if your best talent is not coming from your largest metropolitan area, you got a problem. You got a serious problem. Because as I said a couple of weeks ago, when you look at this school, when you look at the recruiting that Arkansas has done at quarterback, the majority of them have come from Northwest Arkansas. And if the question is, had they went to another school, how good would they have been? Because if they're good quarterbacks, they would show. Now, notwithstanding Matt Jones was a fantastic athlete. But I'm talking about a big-time quarterback. And then you typically don't say, hey, well, he played on college, he'll be great on pros. But you would think every now and then one of those quarterbacks would go pro and be successful at that position, if nothing more than a backup, be on someone's roster. That doesn't even happen. Now, I know Clint Sterner was on the Cowboys roster for a while and bounced around, but I'm just asking the questions. So what has happened to Central Arkansas football? And I think the University of Arkansas suffers from that. I'm just asking. Because I don't think they're getting their bang for the buck from the quarterbacks that they're recruiting in Northwest Arkansas. And Arkansas has got to do somewhat what Tennessee does. Tennessee recruits all over the country. Now, I'm sure Arkansas does, but Tennessee lays it on the line. They've had quarterbacks from California, all over the country. When was the last time Arkansas had a big-name quarterback from California? Or somewhere that a lot of people wanted him, but he ended up choosing Arkansas. It doesn't happen. And Arkansas, certainly you got to build a fence around your state and get those recruits. But you also got to recruit outside of Arkansas. And I know Arkansas does a lot of recruiting in Texas, but still, at the end of the day, these Northwest quarterbacks are not fit in the bill. I'm just being honest. And part of the problem is that Metro Sports here in the Little Rock and Central Arkansas area is down is not even the word. You go to a football game in Little Rock Central, and there's no one there. That is the largest high school in the state of Arkansas. Why isn't it able to compete? Is it coaching? I don't think so. I think School to Register has been doing a great job considering what he's had to work with. Now, I know I hear a lot of the kids over there at Central are not eligible. But even let's look at what has happened to Little Rock Hall, Little Rock Park. On a Friday night, 30 years ago, Friday night, that stadium, Quigley Stadium, was packed. Whether it was Hall, Central, or Park. And Lord, don't let it be the two teams playing one another, one of those three. I'm just asking the questions. Didn't mean to go there, but Arkansas has to start thinking about that, and whomever the powers are that can make a change. If you're not funding these schools, why aren't you funding the schools? Athletics should be a part of the school curriculum. And that's part of the reason you may not be drawing the best athletes, because you're not funding them. I don't know. Just asking them. Anyway, I didn't do a headlines in a second, did I? I'm sorry. Tell you what, let's take a break. We're going to try to get Greg Fogle on here in just a moment. I don't know why I keep closing my app, but I don't know. It's crazy. But we are going to try to get Greg Fogle on here in just a moment and see what's going on up near the Nashville way and get his thoughts on different things. And I'll talk to him a little bit about the deflategate and things of that nature coming up at about 5:40. We are going to have my little rant about deflategate. I've got to weigh in on it, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in the pool and get it off my chest. All right. So let's go ahead and jump out here and take another break. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on the KABF 88.3 FM.
I ain't going nowhere. Remember what happened last year? Yeah, it didn't stop the changing process. That food that didn't even taste good. Somebody needs to teach that side of the family how to barbecue. Did you see them folks go with dynamic grip rod like I told you?
Yes, Grandpa. After last year, I knew that was the only way to go.
Hey, fans. What? You haven't tried Coleman's dynamic grip rod? It's great for meats, veggies, and snacks. Let your fingers do the walking and log on to griprub.com. That's RIBRUBB.com. Then let your mouth do the talking about great recipes and gift ideas. Then you too can bake it, cook it, smoke it. Oh yeah.
Hey man, call the show. Let's see if we can get this thing popping. Call me about 5:30. All right, man.
To change our diet to change your life. There's an old saying that we are what we eat, and if you're suffering from various maladies, a slight change in your diet may be just what the doctor ordered. At AnswersCookingVegan.com, we can set up consultations to get you going in the right direction. Let me design a meal plan specifically with you in mind. Get insight on alternative recipes that are easy to prepare and taste great. Learn to read food labels to know what you're really eating. Remember, that's Hansel's, COOKINVEGN.com. That's cancels.deflategate.com.
Hey, sports fans, Dynamic David Coleman here. Listen to my weekly sports show every Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. Right here. I don't shy away from sports controversies like domestic violence, drugs, or should college kids be paid. If you love fantasy, NBA, NFL, NHL, high school, college, and yes, even NASCAR, we got you covered. Every Thursday afternoon, 5 to 7 p.m. Listen, call the weekly sports page with Dynamic David Coleman on 88.3 FM.
Yeah. Come on. Come on, boys. Time to get through the mashed potatoes and the fucking chicken. Woo! So you young folks don't know nothing about that. Don't know nothing about that. Leave it alone. I'm Dynamic Dave. I'm here every Thursday afternoon, 5 to 7 p.m. Enjoying myself, playing some funky music. Of course, we talk sports this time every week. Glad you joined me. Of course, tell a friend. Trying to grow the show, get more news out there, get more. It's a different take. By the way, Greg Folk is coming up about 5:30. Last week, I apologize. We had phone problems. Hopefully, that has been resolved. I shouldn't have even thought. I shouldn't have even thought about that. All right, we'll move on. But yeah, it's we're gonna have some fun today and talk a little sports. Football season is around the corner, and gonna get into the deflategate here in a little bit. So I hope you'll stick and stay for my rant on that. It usually I used to call them the Thursday evening rants. Now they've turned into the dynamic dish or dishes. So this is my dynamic dish for today, and I hope you'll enjoy that as well. Let's quickly jump into some news before Greg calls. We were talking a little bit about Anton Beard, Ja'Cory Williams, and Dustin Thomas. Of course, you know by now they've been arrested and arraigned for forgery, allegedly, and passing counterfeit bills, basically what allegedly they were doing. Now they were out on what, $5,000 bond. Their next hearing comes up on the 24th of August. The curious thing about it, I saw a report a couple of days ago that Ja'Cory Williams has gotten some other trouble, some domestic violence issues, something along those lines. So keep your eyes on that. Major League Baseball trades are flying hot and heavy over the last 24 hours. They'll go through midnight. Just a couple of quick hits. Troy Whiskey, he went to the Blue Jays along with David Price. That happened today. Of course, David Price is a rental player. Tula Whiskey will be there for I think 2017, somewhere in there. But the Jays, I didn't realize this. So, do you remember back in the day when the Jays was pretty, what, 92, 93 in there, when they went back-to-back and won World Series? But you know they hadn't been back to the playoffs since. That's bizarre. So they're laying it on the line. They are currently, I think, I'm doing this off the top of my head. I think they're 2.5 games out of the wild card, but it's a lot of baseball to be played. The Yankees right now 7 ahead in their division. So check out the Blue Jays. They look like they're pretty serious. Let's see a couple of other. Let's see, Cole Hammonds, he goes to the Rangers, and the Nationals get Jonathan Papelbon. The curious thing that happened last night, did you see Wilmer Flores crying because he thought he had been traded? Did you see that? They say there's no crying in baseball. Well, there was a lot last night by Wilmer Flores. Now, the young man had been in the organization since he was 16. He was supposed to have been traded for Carlos Gomez to the Milwaukee Brewers. And he apparently found out by being on the field. It was leaked by the Mets organization. And here's the killer thing about it. They want to blame social media. Well, wait a minute. Where did the story come from? It didn't come from social media. Is there a person by the name of social media? I didn't know that. No, social media is nothing but a parrot. Whatever comes out, social media will parrot that. And apparently, someone in the Mets organization leaked that Flores was going to be traded to Milwaukee. Now, the trade has since been nixed because apparently Gomez had some problems, some health problems. He could pass the physical. So, who's the guy that leaked that? And then here's the killer part about it. Flores didn't know what was happening. The fans, like, when he get up to bat, they give him a standing ovation. And then I guess he was out of the field and guys were telling him, fans were screaming at him, hey, thanks for the members, you've been traded, yada, yada, yada. Is that wild or what? Crazy, man. That's crazy. So, I don't know. We'll talk about a lot that and a lot more here in just a moment. But that was the weirdest thing. You think it didn't cry in baseball? Well, it certainly is, for sure. Let's go to the phones and talk to my good buddy Greg Pope. Hey, Greg, how's it going? Hey, fine. You sound fantastic this week. I thought you were Charlie Brown's mama last week. But anyway, that's another story. Hey, I know. But hey, look, let me ask you a question. I was just talking about it, and this is the time of year that I kind of start tuning in on baseball a little bit. Certainly the trade deadline is going on. David Price gets traded to Toronto. What are your thoughts? And certainly, we know David. We covered him at Vanderbilt. We've had him and his dad on our previous show. What are your thoughts with David right now? Well, the question I have, certainly he's been a pitcher for this year, Toronto. And I think about the curious stat. You know, since Toronto 23, not even been back to the playoffs. Did you know that? Well, you know, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective because David is a free agent, and in all likelihood, he's not going to re-sign with the Jays. And I doubt if the Jays would even re-sign him anyway. I think this is a gambit on their part just to make the playoffs for a change. But yeah, that's an interesting point. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. Yep. Yeah, I think it's worth it. I mean, certainly for the fans. So good for them, and good luck to David for sure. And you know, it's going to be interesting going down the wire. When you look at Toronto, really the AL East is not that great. The Yankees, I think, are leading by 7, and of course they're I think 2 games out of the wild card, so they're still in the hunt. So I think this was a good move on their part to make that push towards the play. Yeah, I agree with you. A couple of other points. I know. What are your thoughts on uh, Dunny Tyndall and the level 1 violations apparently from the NCAA. I know, I know, I do too. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. So good luck to him. And certainly there are some allegations now to Larry Brown at SMU, who had basically turned that program around. Now they're probably going to get slapped as well. It's kind of amazing how things go that way. Hey, so football season's right around the corner. You excited? Yeah, yep. So well, let me ask you a question. Will they make the playoffs this year? Ouch. How are Titans fans handling that? Sure, go right ahead. But how are the Titans fans handling that? Are they, because I know there's a lot of hype around Mariota as if he's the second coming, but ooh, I should sure hope he doesn't flame out. But anyway, let's talk a little college football. I just pulled up the coaches poll, and of course, polls don't mean anything to me around this time of year anyway, especially coaches. But I found it interesting because there's so much optimism here, and I'm segueing to a question around Tennessee. But there's so much optimism here around the Arkansas Razorbacks. I simply don't see it, but I'm trying to be a little objective. But when you look at this latest coaches poll, there are 8 SEC schools in it. Tennessee is ranked 25th. Arkansas is 20th. And the killer thing about it, when you look at Arkansas, they're playing 6 of the teams in that top 8. Obviously, they can't play themselves, and they're not playing Georgia. What are Tennessee fans? Because I'm hearing a lot of optimism around the Tennessee program with Dobbs and everything. What are they saying about the program? And of course, I think one of the most pivotal games that's going to happen is Arkansas and Tennessee that 4th week of the season. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to watch, and I can certainly see the optimism based on what the SEC East is all about. But with Tennessee, I can't see it with Arkansas in the SEC West. I just can't. You know? Well, what I'm saying is where they're playing. Now, certainly they've got Alabama and Tennessee on the road. Auburn, of course, we don't know. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I know. It's strange. Oh yeah, no doubt about that. Hey man, good stuff. Labor Day weekend. I'm planning to come to the John Merritt Classic, so we'll certainly be in touch. Whoa, whoa. See, that's why I like you, dog. I'll have to check in the credentials. No doubt about that. That's for sure. Hey, sounds like a winner, man. But definitely, I will look into that. I'll have to reshuffle that schedule. That's for sure. All right, man. We'll talk to you later. It's my good buddy Greg Pogue, and they plan to be in Nashville that weekend. We're gonna have to do some reshuffling. Yes, we are. Get my feel of college football. That'd be a huge weekend. All right, we got to go out and take our next break. We'll be back in just a moment with the Dynamic Dish. You're listening to the weekly sports magazine on KABF 88.3 FM.
Business got footprint growing by showing with dynamicpowerpages.com. We don't just list your business on a website, hoping consumers find. We build you an interactive web page for your business and advertise nationally. So we send our subscribers to you from all over the country. Already got a website? Well, that's no problem. You can use your Power Page as a source to your own business website. Dynamic Power Pages is a growing national site. Go to dynamicpowerpages.com today and let's set up a free, that's right, free initial consultation. Small business and showing capital, yeah, we understand. We have a payment plan that will fit any budget. It's happening on dynamicpowerpages.com. Remember, it's not a party, it's a purpose. That's dynamicpowerpages.com.
Come on, Grandpa. Time to go to the family reunion.
I ain't going nowhere. Remember what happened last year?
Yeah, Gramps, we had a great time.
Yeah, it didn't start in the process.
What are you talking about? There was plenty of food.
Yeah, food that didn't even taste good. Somebody needs to teach that side of the family how to barbecue. Did you see them folks go with dynamic rib rub like I told you?
Yes, Grandpa. After last year, I knew that was the only way to go.
Hey man, what? You haven't tried Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub? It's great for meats, veggies, and snacks. Let your fingers do the walking and log on to ribrub.com. That's RIBBRUBB.com Then let your mouth do the talking about great recipes and gift ideas. Then you too can bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah! If you could have a little volunteer, how much money would you be willing to give? 50, 100, $500 maybe? How about just $10? Hi, my name is David W. Coleman, and in conjunction with the Father's Family Affair, we launched the 110 to 1K scholarship campaign. We need 100 people to donate $10 to assist a young father with college tuition. Just $10. Go to fathersfamilyaffair.com now to make a tax-deductible donation. Your small tax-deductible gift of $10 can make the difference in a young father furthering his education as opposed to a minimum wage job. Your $10 can make the difference in a young father dropping out or completing his degree for him and his family. Please give to the 110 to 1K scholarship campaign today. It's just $10. Make the tax-deductible donation at fathersfamilyaffair.com right now.
Projects will bring clothes in this generation. You have to be careful when you start saying it. You know, when he might get it right, or he might get it bad. Every generation, you begin to sound like an old man that lives down the street, and every time you walk on his yard, you walk by his yard, he's on the porch, and he's got this little thing, he's like, get off my lawn! Get off my lawn!
Join me Saturday mornings at 9 for the Weekly Sports Magazine on Jordan Radio.
Yes, if you on streaming my show right now, you see me doing the mashed potatoes. You young people, that's a dance. It's called mashed potatoes. I know y'all like to whip and nay-nay. How about whip some mashed potatoes? How about that? That's a look, I just created a dance. Whipping mashed potatoes. I'm Dynamic Dave. I'm here every Thursday afternoon. Thanks for listening. Good to be here. Hey, man, look, I got to weigh in on this deflategate thing, okay? I'm sorry. I don't mean to, but I just got to, all right? And I've been kind of avoiding it, and I've been touching on it every now and then just to see, just to make some points. But now that the NFL has upheld their decision to keep Tom Brady suspended for 4 games, and all the stuff that's coming out, I think it's really hilarious. If you want to be totally honest, the NFL dropped the ball on this one, okay? They really did. They dropped the ball on it. There's no doubt about it. Tom Brady dropped the ball on it too, so there's culpability on both sides. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But it's got to the point now where, and you have to understand about the NFL. In covering the NFL as I did with the Tennessee Titans for about 12 years, the one thing that the NFL defends more than anything else, and that's its brand, all right? The biggest scare of any professional sport is that it ends up like wrestling, all right? Sorry, wrestling fans, you might get mad at me about that, but when you start having credibility issues, then that's going to scare the heck out of the NFL. And that's basically what this Deflategate thing did to Roger Goodell and his cohorts. It scared them. Couple that with all the other negative publicity that they were getting prior, with all the domestic violence, the Ray Rice thing, the Adrian Peterson thing, of course, the guy from San Francisco. It's been terrible. In fact, it's been this way for decades. But everybody used to like to point their finger at the NBA. The NBA wasn't getting any guys arrested, but everybody hated the NBA. But pro football, and it got to the point a few years ago, this guy developed a website. And I think if you go out to profootballtalks.com, if you go out to that site, he actually has link. Oh, there it is. I'm looking at it right now. It's called the Police Block. And he does it for all sports, but he actually does it for the NFL. And it culminated out of them being arrested so much. Okay? So they panicked. They didn't know what to do at that point. So then you couple it with the fact, and here's the thing that really bothers me. Anyone who's been around football for any period of time can touch a football and tell that it's slow. Anyone can do that. The other thing that bothers me about this is that it's almost like the Patriots are trying to make us be stupid. Because here's what concerns me. All right. As I just said, anyone can touch a football and tell it if it's deflated. That's why when it happened in the game, what was it, the Colts game earlier in the season? That's why they were able to figure it out. Now, Tom Brady came out and said, hey, yeah, I like the balls deflated just a little bit. I didn't know about any regulations. Sorry, won't do it again. It would have been a $25,000 fine, and it would have been over with. By the way, in the collective bargaining agreement, there is a clause where any tampering with equipment, then there is a fine. It's not suspension. So that's what the NFLPA is really arguing about. But what annoys me is that Tom Brady decided that he didn't want to participate in the investigation at all. News comes out that he apparently destroyed the cell phone the day before he knew he was going to talk to the investigators. That's curious. Now I know the argument is from Tom, if you want to believe Tom, that I was just, I changed phones and I destroy all my phones after I change. Okay, that's a not a bad argument considering hackers and these things these days. But the fact that you knew that you were going to talk to the investigator the next day, don't you think common sense would have said, there's already issues about text messages from the training staff, from the equipment staff, the young men that are in question. Maybe I need to, so I can make sure that I prove my innocence, maybe I just need to hang on to my cell phone just one more day. No one was going to hack you, Tom. You had the cell phone in your possession. And by the way, the league didn't want all of the cell phone. They just wanted messages that his lawyer could have picked through, that he could have picked through, that related to the investigation. That was so nice of him. Brady, stonewall. Not getting a cell phone. He laughed them off. He made us look stupid. But here's the other thing that annoys me about Kraft. Because why did Kraft, here's the thing. Why did Kraft go ahead and give up his fight early on with the 2 draft picks and the first and fourth round pick, if in fact there was not something that was said to him about, hey, look, if I give up these draft picks, then I'll go ahead and you won't find Tom Brady. And why would you do that, Kraft, if Tom Brady was completely innocent? Why would you even capitulate one iota if Tom Brady was completely innocent? Even if the commissioner said, hey, well, if you do this, I won't suspend Tom Brady. But the problem is, we're back to the shield. There's an integrity issue going on here. We know athletes cheat in every sport. Let's be real. We won't even get into the steroids, but every athlete is looking for that little edge. Look, here's something simple that's cheating. If I'm a defensive end, and if I'm rolling off the snap count, and I'm right there on the edge, and I'm really offsides, but that linesman never calls it, am I cheating? See, in sports, they call it getting an edge. So that was an edge for Tom Brady. He should have been fined, and they should have moved on. But the fact that he stonewalled the NFL, that's where all this mess takes place. Now the NFL has rushed to the courts of Manhattan and said, hey, we need you all to uphold our decision with the collective bargaining agreement. By the way, these NFL players who are complaining about all this power that Goodell has, it's in the collective bargaining agreement. You collectively bargained that. You can't be mad now that Goodell is running crazy. So by going to the court, Goodell beat them to the punch, because the NFL would have loved to have this heard in Minnesota under Judge Doty, who has ruled in favor of the players quite often. He just kicked it back to Manhattan. So the NFL won, Players Association nothing. But there's a bigger picture here. This is not really about Tom Brady. This is the NFL Players Association trying to judiciate their collective bargaining agreement that they should have done when they were bargaining, in my opinion. Hey, I'm not a scholar, but this is what this is really about. I heard one of the agents this morning, one of the lawyers for the NFL Players Association, that's when it hit me. That's what this is all about. They're trying to collective bargain in the courts when they should have had this. Oh, by the way, from what I understand, that initial agreement, the reason that the Patriots got slapped so badly is because, and about the evidence, it's not fact. It's the preponderance of evidence. Now, what am I saying here? Remember Spygate that no one wants to talk about? Apparently, the agreement was, and I'm paraphrasing, that if this happens again, we will look for the preponderance of evidence. This is apparently what was agreed upon by the New England Patriots. This is what I've read. There's a lot of stuff floating around. There's a lot of stuff. So my point is this, after that ramble, that rant, is that if Tom Brady simply would have said, okay, I let air out of the balls, I didn't mean to. By the way, who goes by the name of deflator? I'm just saying. And then you say, oh, I lost some weight. It's just too much. It's almost like he's insulting our intelligence. And I think that's what angers a lot of people. It certainly angers me. And everybody wants to say, hey, well, the NFL is not doing this right. Look, a lot of the stuff the NFL is doing was collectively bargained. And now the NFL Players Association is trying to go through the courts to get some concessions through the collective bargaining agreement. I'm not saying the NFL is right. I'm not saying that the Players Association is right. But I'm simply saying this is what's going on. This is more than just Tom Brady. And then for Kraft to come out and say, oh, the best player in the league. Look, you run a franchise that's been known to cheat. Come on. Spare me that sop. I don't want to hear it. Shut up, Kraft. He certainly, those balls were deflated. And don't tell me about the winter. Look, we have scientific evidence over how long have we been playing football? Not just college, not just pro, not just high school. Look, those of you out there who've been around the game, who's played the game, raise your hand when you played in the cold weather and you had balls, particularly you people especially people who handle footballs. Raise your hand if you ever noticed that the balls were deflated. And here's the other question. Each team provides footballs. There are 36 footballs provided. Each team provides 12. Then there's 12 for kicking. There's 12. So here's the thing. Check this out. Why weren't the footballs on the other side of the sideline deflated? Huh? Why were they just Patriot footballs? I don't care if it was 1. I don't care if it was 3. I don't care if it was 11 out of the 12. They were only Patriot footballs, offensive footballs were deflated. This is the one thing nobody has said in all this stuff I've been listening to. If it's a weather issue, why wouldn't the weather affect footballs on both sides of the sideline? Boom! Gotcha. That ain't playing with me. Now, you can believe that crap if you want. And I got a bridge in China I want to sell you. Where the stock market's down, you can get it pretty cheap over there right now. Look, in all the years I played football in bad weather, friends, watch games, covered games, the weather has, I played in the heat, I played in the cold, sleet, snow, rain, seen games, watched games, been on the sidelines. Look, one of the coldest games I've ever watched was the Titans and the Steelers, that field goal game. I was on the sideline when that kick went up, okay? It was cold. There were no issues of footballs deflating because of it, and it was something like 20 degrees. My son and I watched the Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs one weekend, and it was like 20 degrees. Never. Green Bay. Come on, folks. I'm not buying it. I'm real. I ain't going. Anyway, that's my rant for today. We'll talk a little bit more about that. You can also call me at 501-433-0088 if you want to talk to me. We're going to go out and take our first break, our top of the hour break. We'll be back here in just a moment. You're listening to the weekly sports magazine on KABF 88.3 FM.
KABF Radio 88.3 FM. Voice of the people.
This is Wade Bradley with the Daily Voice of the People News Bulletin. Senator Bernie Sanders packed 4,500 by conservative elsewhere in the Pontchartrain Center outside of New Orleans only weeks after Governor Bobby Jindal made his announcement for president to a crowd claimed to be only 1,000. Boy Scouts of America are ending their ban on gay leaders but allowing local sponsors to make the decision. Mormons say they may leave. According to the Anti-Defamation League, there are 5 states that do not have laws enhancing penalties for bias-motivated crimes: South Carolina, Arkansas, Georgia, Indiana, and Wyoming. Federal regulators fined Fiat Chrysler $105 million, a record penalty for failing to complete 23 safety recalls on more than 11 million vehicles. Small Business Administration suspended all lending because it's reached its cap set by Congress at $18.75 billion, indicating the demand for new loans by small businesses is high in a recovering economy. Research is indicating that predictive algorithms determining bail are 30% better at predicting crimes than judges who have just a few minutes to size up prisoners and decide if they can be risks to society. Activist groups in Massachusetts are proposing a millionaire's tax on the ballot. The act would increase the income tax rate for people earning over $1 billion by 4% of their income over $1 million, would raise $1 billion in new state revenue. Utility Workers Union poll with 400 convention delegates indicated 65% supported Sanders for president. Most of Donald Trump's positions are pretty wacky, but he has remained solid in support of Social Security and Medicare, and surprisingly, of unions, at least in the private sector. Boston's bid for the U.S. Olympics in 2024 was terminated by the Olympic Committee when the mayor of Boston refused to sign an agreement that the city would be responsible for any cost overruns. The Voice of the People Daily Bulletin presents people's news and action issues that demand action. This is Wade Bradley. This bulletin is brought to you thanks to Acorn International, Local 109 Labor Union, Social Policy Magazine, the Affiliated Media Foundation Movement, and METCA. Dave? Dave's not here. Chloe, boy, your mom. Hello. Oh my Lord,
What time is it? It's time for the weekly sports page with the dynamic David Coleman. Stay tuned for thrills, chills, and yes, spills. Oh yeah, and a whole lot of other great stuff. Call 501-433-0088. Tweet your questions at Dynamic Sports PA on Facebook. Drop a line on Dynamic Weekly Sports Show. Sit back, relax, and groove while Dynamic drops sports in your ear hole. Now here's Dynamic Day.
Get 'em up, get 'em up, get 'em up. Hey, what's happening? This is Weekly Sports Magazine, the second hour of the show. Want to remind people, go out to David W. Coleman on Facebook and check out the stream. I'm going to start tweeting a little bit more too. I'm getting ready to set up another Twitter handle. I'm separating it from my business, so we'll be doing more of that as well. You can always catch me on Facebook. Of course, you can go out to Dynamic Power pages. Keep up what's going on. I am thinking about making that trip. Well, I know I'm going to Nashville Labor Day weekend, so that's going to be a big weekend. I don't know if I'll be able to. That's a lot of football, man, in a big weekend. But that's not a bad way to kick off the first weekend for sure. Of college football Labor Day weekend. That would be very, very exciting. Last hour I was talking a little bit in the Daily Dish about Tom Brady and deflategate. I'd like to hear your thoughts if you want to call me. Can 844-00. I was just, you know what? I haven't done that in months, and I just did. I was getting ready to get my old radio station phone number. 501-433-0088 is the number. But I was talking a little bit about the Deflategate, and I tell you what, we got an opportunity real fast. We'll talk about that more as time goes on. Let's make sure we've covered all the headlines. Of course, Russell Wilson is still awaiting a contract. He's already said that he will not do any negotiating once training camp starts. So unless there's something that's going to happen tonight, Russell Wilson will not have a contract going into this season. This will be his final year of the contract. He's making like $1.5 million, folks. And, it doesn't make any sense why they haven't gotten this done. This guy is a clear winner. Are they still hedging their bets, wondering when is he going to fail? When is he going to fail? I mean, look, I'm not a Seattle Seahawks fan, but Russell Wilson, I'd love to have him at the Raiders. Sorry, Derek Carr. I'm a Raiders fan. So there's a possibility that Russell Wilson will. Look, we think it's going to get done. It might get it done today, but it's weird that they've waited so close to training camp. And as Greg mentioned, training camp starts around the country of a lot of NFL teams. We'll be trying to get some folks on, some of the local writers to talk us a little bit about some of the teams in the NFL, certain some teams and of course we're going to try to get some Dallas Cowboy folks on. I'm not a Cowboy fan, but we'll certainly try to get them on as well. I'm an equal opportunity sports guy. I don't just talk about one team, although I am a Razorback fan, but I just don't talk Razorbacks. We'll certainly get some coverage from the Hogs as well. Got a lot of good stuff. I want to remind people as well, Saturday mornings on JoyNet Radio, they partnered with KBF, but Saturday mornings on JoyNet, you can catch the Saturday morning edition of the Weekly Sports Magazine. And coming up this Saturday morning, I'm pretty excited. I gotta call out. We're gonna do all of the HBCUs. We're gonna do all of the college of the Arkansas colleges, Arkansas State, Razorbacks. We're also gonna do Washita, Henderson. Of course, I play football at Southern Arkansas University, so we'll do them. We'll do UAM, Monticello, Arkansas Tech. Do they still play football at Harding? It doesn't matter. We'll do them all. Certainly UCH will. So we're setting those up. So over the next couple of weeks, stick and stay. They'll be either on this show or the Saturday morning sports magazine. So I'll keep you posted on that. You can stay up to date. Once I get them scheduled, you can stay up to date and we'll get them as we go along. And we're going to get Jackson State because there's a big game in Memphis, the Southern Heritage Classic that goes on every year. I'm talking to Rod Reed, who's the head coach of Tennessee State, on Saturday morning. They've got another big game. And I'll tell you, these classics that some of these HBCUs participating in, as a matter of fact, I think UAPB, yes, we are going to have UAPB as well. I think they're going to Indianapolis. I'll have to check their schedule. I want to say they're playing Bethune-Cookman or Prairie View or one of those schools, but we'll get UAPB on as well. And one of the other things I'm going to do, I'm going to get my cousin on, John Grant. He is the band director for the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. And the reason I'm going to get him on is because it's curious to watch those guys. And he's always working out, and this is a busy time of the year for them as they get ready. So we're going to, I didn't think about that. I'm going to look into that here real soon to get him on the air. And maybe Saturday morning might be a good time to do that. So we'll talk about that as well. So those are just some updates on how you can get in touch with me. Stay in touch with me as well. Of course, you can also go out to my other website, riverrub.com, and buy some of my rub. It's pretty good, by the way. And some of the rib cheese. It's to die for. So we got Tim Swift coming up here in just a moment. So let's go ahead and take this next break. And when we come back, we'll talk to Tim. We'll get into some other things. I know Tim is a big baseball fan as well. We'll talk to him and see what's going on along those lines, what his thoughts are. And of course, Tim is going to be our fantasy football person. So we'll ask him what, and because certainly I'm seeing this stuff on, the different sports shows and the different sports channels and the website that I'm going to. So is it time to, start wondering what's going on? And we'll talk to him about all that stuff as well. So that's what's up for this hour. I'm going to try to get Larry Ridley at 6:25. Won't guarantee it, but we got some other stuff for you. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on KABF 88.3 FM.
If you'd like to be featured or are interested in advertising, please call us today at 501-560
David W. Coleman, and in conjunction with a Father's Family Affair, we've launched the 100 for 10 to 1K scholarship campaign. We need 100 people to donate $10 to assist a young father with college tuition. Just $10. Go to fathersfamilyaffair.com now to make a tax-deductible donation. Your small tax-deductible gift of $10 could make the difference in a young father furthering his education as opposed to a minimum wage job. Your $10 could make the difference in a young father dropping out or completing his degree for him and his family. Please give to the 100 for 10 to 1K scholarship campaign today. It's just $10. Make that tax-deductible donation at fathersfamilyaffair.com right now.
If you're looking for a place to hold that special birthday or anniversary celebration, graduation party, or wedding reception, or even if you're looking just to have an intimate private dinner, then
Hey man, call the show.
Lady K's Place.
Right.
Lady K's Place is the perfect place to hold your event. Located 303 Phillips Road in North Little Rock in Rose City. For more information and a tour, call 501-765-8481. That's 501-765-8481. Lady K's Place.
Pig check, round ball check, hard ball check, hockey puck check, burning rubber check. We got it all on the weekly sports page with David Coleman. What else do you need? Did I say food? Can't have sports without food. What kind of show is it? Oh, okay. Happy those breakfast.
Yeah, we do have it all, and a whole lot more with me, Dynamic David Coleman, on the weekly sports magazine.
Hey, remember the swim? Yeah, see, you young folks don't know nothing about dancing. This whipping nay crap. Come on. Mashed potatoes, the funky chicken, the swim, the bump, and the double bump. Come on now. Oh, young folks think y'all dancing with this silliness. Welcome back to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave. Here every Thursday afternoon. Let's go right to the phones and talk to our next guest. Hey, Tim, what's happening? I'm fine. Now, you remember the mashed potatoes and the funky chicken? Oh, I guess you're a young guy, too, so I understand. So, that's all right. Hey, if you couldn't double bump and do the mashed potatoes back in the day, hey, you wasn't getting no woman. I'm just saying. And that was the way, them women with them big, that was a good way to bump. You do the bump. There was a song out by Joe Tex called "Ain't No Bump No More with a Big Fat Woman." You think I'm kidding, don't you? Hey, so I'm just saying. But yet I digress and reminisce. Hey, Tim, look, I've been going to a lot of sports pages online, and everybody's talking about the fantasy football. Is there anything fantasy guys should be doing right now? Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It seems to be growing and growing. And is there any stop to fantasy football? What's next? Well, it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be an exciting year. Just off the top of your head, I know there's really nothing or stats or anything like that. Who are some people at the quarterback position that let's say a sleeper? We know the regular guys. Is there anyone out there that you might, as people start getting ready and getting their stats together for the upcoming drafts in the next couple of weeks, is there any sleeper quarterback that you might want to look at? Ooh. Well, I tell you what, I definitely like the Bridgewater pick, not because of its fantasy, but I think there are a lot of people, and I saw something today where they're expecting the Vikings to be a sleeper pick this year, and I think so. You add Adrian Peterson, the defense is a little salty, and then the fact that you're right, Teddy Bridgewater really, really developed. And look, I thought he got a bum deal coming out. You know, everybody was trying to find all the negatives, and we've seen draft, we know that happens, but I think that they just didn't give this young man any credit. And look, I think he's going to be on fire this year. And you're right, one-on-one coverages. Yeah, any running back that you should pay attention to. Interesting. Sleeper at wide receiver position. Well, you know, the interesting thing about Matthews is just read a piece where it looks like Tim Tebow is going to make that team, and he's going to, and they're saying he's going to play quite a bit if the report that I read is true. Does that take away from Matthews at all, you think? Wait a minute, he changed his throwing motion. Hey Tim, I know you're a big boxing fan, and certainly I haven't talked. We hadn't talked in a couple of weeks. You've been on vacation, and we had technical difficulties last week. I'm curious about your thoughts. If you heard the comments, and really, I have to agree with it. Believe it or not, me agreeing with Floyd Mayweather, but his thoughts as it relates to MMA. Did you hear that press conference that he had? And furthermore, the fact that you would give Ronda Rousey the female athlete of the year when she's fighting in a sport that is basically a B sport and who has no competitors. What were your thoughts if you heard those from Mayweather? Yeah. Right. He pummeled him. Well, good stuff, Tim. Hey, by the way, are you going to be able to join me on Saturday mornings? Oh. Okay, sounds good to me, man. Good stuff as always. We'll talk to you soon. All right, man. That's our good buddy Tim Swift, our fantasy guy. Hey, the guy knows his stuff. We're trying to work out some scheduling issues on Saturday morning so he can join us on Saturday because that's the best time to talk fantasy sports. Saturday morning and Sunday morning. Well, let me take that back. Sunday morning before the NFL games is the best time to talk fantasy sports because you're running up to whether or not people are going to be scratched. You get the injury report early on Saturday mornings. But we'll work it out somehow. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on KBF 88.3 FM.
$50, $100, $500 maybe? How about just $10? My name is David W. Coleman, and in conjunction with a Father's Family Affair, we launched the 100 for 10 to 1K scholarship campaign. We need 100 people to donate $10 to assist a young father with college tuition. Just $10. Go to fathersfamilyaffair.com now to make a tax-deductible donation. Your small tax-deductible gift of $10 can make the difference in a young father furthering his education as opposed to a minimum wage job. Your $10 can make the difference in a young father dropping out or completing his degree for him and his family. Please give to the 100 for 10 to 1K scholarship campaign today. It's just $10. Make that tax-deductible donation at fathersfamilyaffair.com right now.
Ever had burning sensation in your chest after eating a meal or felt bloated, diagnosed with acid reflux? Well, part of the problem may be bad food combinations. Sometimes our fast-paced lives cause us to eat on the run. We tend to eat carbohydrates with proteins, eating high-protein meals and adding a slice of pie for dessert will slow the digestive process and hinder proteins from breaking down. Carbs digest more rapidly, leaving partially digested food, which turns to fat. When selecting meal choices, do not combine sweets with your meal. Always wait at least 3 hours to give your body the opportunity to digest proteins and fat enzymes. If Mom's peach cobbler is a must, enjoy it 30 minutes before the meal. Small changes can make a difference in the way you feel and the way your body reacts to the food you eat. This message is brought to you by Hansel's Cooking Baking. 310-849-9778. Change your diet to change you.
Hey Fred, have you checked out dynamicpowerpages.com? It's smart, it's innovative, and most importantly, it's a growing database of up-and-coming businesses ready to serve your consumer needs. Get info on how to make your business a power player and help build a network of like-minded businesses. Stay abreast of upcoming dynamic power events, meetings, but most importantly, join the growing national Black business network. Get a power page to become a power player. Network locally and nationally with other business owners across the country. Go to dynamicpowerpages.com right now and just see for yourself. Here's my number, 615-554-0568. You'll talk direct to me, David W. Coleman, and we'll begin developing your business footprint for the web. 615-554-0568 or go to dynamicpowerpages.com. It's smart, it's innovative, and most importantly, it's not a party, it's a purpose.
Pig check, round ball check, hard ball check, hot button check, burning rubber check. We got it all on the weekly sports page with David Coleman. What else do you need? Did I say food? Can't have sports without food. What kind of show is this again?
Sports show.
Oh, okay. Pass me those ribbons.
Yeah, we do that all. And a whole lot more with me, Dynamic David Coleman, of the Weekly Sports Magazine.
Yeah. Little Tom Brown in the background. I'm Dynamic Dave. I'm playing little old school music as my bumper music. That's how I do it, baby. Pretty fun talking about Joe Tex. Rufus Thomas, what was the? He used to do some crazy songs too. So all of them. I didn't get into that mess. But, Who'll Take the Lady? Who did the song Who Take the Lady with the Skinny Legs and all? Remember that song? Those weren't party songs. That was a little bit before my time. But, those kind of songs are true. But anyway, you're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine. We may get a call from Larry Ridley. Oh, he's on vacation. So I'm not going to bother him on vacation. I'm actually sent out the Madison signal for him. And we'll go from there. I got to talk to him about some stuff as it relates to how we're going to do these shows coming up. Because we want to get him involved. He's probably going to be covering some football in the Florida area. So, but his main beat is basketball. So we'll see. All right, so let's see what do we have on the agenda. Let's see here. Let me pull up my little list of things that some of the things that we haven't covered. And I mentioned the fact that early on, Ohio State has lost 4 players at least for the first game of the season. There was a linebacker, and I'm sorry I digress as I try to pull up the information here, but they've lost 4 players. Don't really think that will affect them too much. They just kind of plug guys in. That's kind of how they do it. So, but that was interesting to see. Let's see what else. We talked about Russell Wilson. I've had a little more enough of the Brady thing, but we'll get more of this as this thing goes to court. It is interesting, though, that the Players Association are mad at Goodell for having all of this power. Yeah, and look, I'll agree, some of the stuff is not fair, but you collectively bargained a lot of that. So you're mad at Goodell because he's using the power that that you gave him? That's almost like someone coming in and giving you $40 million and saying, and you spend it the way you want, and they're mad at you because you didn't spend it the way they thought. And of course, I've used that amount of money because that's what Goodell makes. Okay. And Jared Jones came out today and said, "Hey, we're proud of the commissioner. Commissioner's doing a great job. Doing a great job. That's right. So that's why he makes the big bucks." according to Gerald. But again, it makes you wonder whether or not the NFL really cares what's going on. That old saying, just spell my name right. I think this applies. I really do. Maybe it's me. I'm being a cynic. I know. But I think this applies. Why wouldn't it? So, oh, by the way, speaking of Ohio State, we'll get into that as well. You know, they got 14 million quarterbacks up there. But let's see here. I'm looking for the names of the young men who were suspended. They're going to be suspended for the opener for the Virginia Tech game. A couple of them, let's see. For him, I was reading that. Let's see. I'm sorry, this is bad radio. But we'll get into that as well. But Braxton Miller is the other guy I was going to talk about, Ohio State, who has decided that he's going to go to receiver. His arm or his shoulder, which he injured, that would put him out last year, apparently isn't healed as of yet. So he's going to go to the receiver position. And, of course, they've got Cardale Jones, who is now playing, who just looked like a superstar. And really, from what I can tell, big guy, he's got a great arm. He might be playing on Sundays, to believe it or not. Speaking of Cardale Jones, if you didn't see the tweet last week where he weighed in on the Black Lives Matter situation, which, you know, I'll just leave it at that. But I was gonna really, but I don't want to even go there today. But he weighed in on it, and a prospective Ohio State fan told him just basically to shut up and just play football. And of course, he came out of Cardale Jones decided that he would retweet the player, and basically in broken English and bad grammar, ghetto grammar, the enslaved terms, basically saying basically I'm sorry if I was commenting on something I don't have no business commenting on, which I thought was a great retweet, and basically shut the guy down. Which it amazes me sometimes where people tend to believe that athletes don't have a say in what everyday life is all about, and they do, and they should. And because you have a say, just because they have a job, although it's high profile. And here's the other thing: movie stars have a say. You see them on all kinds of causes. So why would you get upset because an athlete would have a say on something that's important to him? So I was proud that Cardale Jones ended up letting that crazy fan have it. It was pretty interesting to read as well. We talked a little bit about the trade deadlines. There have probably been some other trades that have taken place, but the big trades are to the Whiskey and Price, to the Blue Jays. Greg and I talked about that. The Blue Jays haven't been back to the World Series or the playoffs since '93, so this is a big push for them. Currently about 2 games out of the wild card. There's still a lot of baseball to play. You throw in a David Price and just work him to death, they ought to be able to make that ground up. The Yankees in a sorry division. Many people didn't even believe that the Yankees would be able to win this division. But again, this division has turned out to be so abysmal that the Yankees are leading about 6.5, 7 games at present time. So I think this is a good push by the Blue Jays. And then you talk about a push. Take your hats off. We didn't mention the Royals, and the Royals end up getting Cueto from Cincinnati. That's a heck of a pickup for them. The Royals are serious. And, I'll be honest with you, it was pretty neat. I'm not a Royals fan by any stretch of the imagination, but it was pretty neat to see them back in the playoffs. And you kind of grew up where the Royals were always a great team, and then they got a couple of owners who just used the franchise as a bank to make money, but then put competitive teams on the field. And, of course, the Kansas City fans were so gracious and stuck by that team. And, of course, you got the Negro League Baseball stadium there, and it got a lot of push. So, good for Kansas City. I'm hoping that they make a run. The Rangers pick up Cole Hamels, big pickup for them. The Whirling Darvish is out. It looks like the Rangers are done. And people say, well, why are you picking up Hamels? When Darvish comes back next year, you got Hamels. This could potentially be a big pickup for them as well down the road. We'll see. The Nats get Jonathan Papelbon. So those are a couple of updates as far as some other trades that have taken place near the trade deadline. Certainly there'll be a lot more, too many to talk about, but those are some big names that I thought I'd throw out there. And I do now start talking a little baseball, and we'll start having probably a regular baseball segment, where it'll be strictly nothing but baseball as we go forward. Russell Wilson does not have a contract. Training camp starts for a lot of teams tomorrow, this weekend. He's already said that if he doesn't get a contract, he will not, I repeat, he will not sign a contract or do any negotiation during the season. There are a lot of players who do that. That's not a big deal. But I think, look, if he has a great season again this year, he's a free agent after the end of the season, I think Seattle is kind of, taking a chance. Now, let's be honest, that defense is great. And I remember Joe Flacco, winning a championship with a great defense, mediocre quarterback. So that we saw that with Hasselbeck too. So we'll see. But it's going to be interesting to see, because if I'm Russell Wilson, I've been playing for the last 3 years for $1.3 million. Now look, not a lot of money as it relates to NFL players. That's a hell of a lot of money for me, but I'm not Russell Wilson. Based on the numbers that he's put up, the guy is some money in October, November, December, and January, where it means some more. He's money. Why are you waiting so long? And if I'm Russell Wilson, if I have another great season and there are other people who come and knocking, I might just answer that door next season. Or I use them to really, really crank it into the Seattle Seahawks. I do, because I think he's getting a bum deal on this. I really do. He should be getting more money, and of course, it's almost like Seattle is waiting for him to fail. We're not that sure in him. Yeah, he plays great. He makes good decisions, but is he really a franchise quarterback? And you hear those little mumblings a lot. Is he? He's not the traditional quarterback. But he always makes the big throws. He always drives them down the field. That's why it was so shocking in the Super Bowl that he makes that throw and then audible out of it, or didn't see the secondary back, because Russell Wilson doesn't make those kind of mistakes that often. Got to be careful when you start saying certain people don't make mistakes, because they all make mistakes, but he's pretty reliable when it comes to that. So the fact that Seattle has not given him a contract, unless something occurs, I'm out here on the sports channels right now checking. I also have an app that tells me other things that are going on around the sports world, and I'm not seeing anything right now as it relates to Russell Wilson being signed. Okay, I did see more NFL players getting arrested for whatever reasons. So it's back to what I was saying. So we'll see. NFL, with a lot of talk about the NFL coming around the corner. Certainly we'll do a review of the NFL coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We'll start trying to set that up for the next week's show. And of course, we'll start setting up college football. We are going to talk to a lot of the players, a lot of the coaches around the Arkansas area. What I used to talk about, the old AIC, the Arkansas Intercollegiate Conference. Now I think it's the Great American Conference, if I remember correctly. And I tell you what, I'm going to also try to get some of my old college buddies on, some of my old teammates, that played down at SAU and around the area as well, to see what they're up to and talk about. Because a lot of people don't realize, during the old AIC, the Arkansas Intercollegiate Conference, other than that was one of the toughest conferences for its division in America. It was the AIC. So you had teams like Washita, Houston, not Houston, but Henderson. Let's see, UA Monticello. You also had Southern Arkansas University. You had Arkansas Tech. You had Harding, and you had UCA. That was 8, right? Pretty tough conference. Had some fun time. So we're going to talk with them. We're certainly going to reach out to Arkansas State, and we'll get some Razorback guy on one of the other things. Next week, I'm going to try to set up a show where we can talk to someone around that talks more in depth about Central Arkansas football. I just got to find an answer to this. I just do. I just need to. It's almost like an investigation now. I'm going to reach out to the people at the Democratic Gazette, see if I can get them on, get a better idea of what's going on and what happens in college football, high school football here in Central Arkansas. I just need an answer because I think it's doing a disservice certainly to the kids in this area who are certainly capable of playing, but it's also doing a disservice to the fans. And once great and proud tradition is simply no more now. And I go back to the time when we were playing Hall and Central on Turkey Day, on Thanksgiving Day at 10 o'clock in the morning. Now they killed that for the playoffs. I understand that, but that game right there was the biggest game in the state, regardless. And usually, most of the time, it came down to Central Arkansas. The winner of that game ended up winning the state championship in 5A during that time period. That game was killed for the playoffs. I understand that. The playoffs certainly is a better option. I wish we would have had playoffs back when we played. We were 9-0-3. We had 3 games that we tied back during that time period. Would have loved to have been able to play an overtime schedule or at least play those games out and go on to see. But we were undefeated and won state champs in 5A. But that was a once proud tradition that's no longer here. And the fact that Little Rock Central, Hall, Parkview are on the out, it makes no sense to me, particularly with Central. It just makes no sense to me. So we're going to do that. We're going to investigate it fully and try to find out what's going on. When we come back, I want to talk about a little bit about this the coach that was hired in the NFL, Jen Welter. We'll talk a little bit about that and give you my thoughts on that as well. Some people might get mad at me, but what else is new? People are always getting mad at me. But I'm just gonna say what I think a lot of guys would like to say, but they won't say, and it's just stick and stay. We'll be back with that in just a moment. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine on KABL 88.3 FM.
Hey fans, yeah, you ever tried Cole's Dynamic Rib Rub? It's great for meats, veggies, and snacks. Let your fingers do the walking and log on to ribrub.com. That's RIBBRUBB.com. Then let your mouth do the talking about great recipes and gift ideas. Then you too can bake it, grill it, smoke it. Oh yeah.
What about some delicious chicken spaghetti? That's Susie Joe's favorite. I almost forgot. First you put the island south to make you feel hungry. That romance judges I have with us with. Judges, there are some injury. On streets in the car. Tuesday through Sunday from 11 to 6 p.m. Judges, it's the same time. Hi, I'm Hansel Hills from Hansel'sCookingVegan.com. I want to personally invite you to visit my website. To change your diet, to change your life. There's an old saying that we are what we eat, and if you're suffering from various maladies, a slight change in your diet may be just what the doctor ordered. At Hansel'sCookingVegan.com, we can set up consultations to get you going in the right direction. Let me design a meal plan specifically with you in mind. Get insight on alternative recipes that are easy to prepare and taste great. Learn to read food labels to know what you're really eating. Remember, that's Hansel's, COOKNVEGN.com for more information, or just call me at 310-849-9778. That's Hansel'sCookingVegan.com.
Hey sports fans, Dynamic David Coleman here. Listen to my weekly sports show every Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. right here. I don't shy away from sports controversies like domestic violence, drugs, or should college kids be banned. If you love fantasy, NBA, NFL, NHL, high school, college, and yes, even NASCAR, we got you covered. Every Thursday afternoon, 5 to 7 p.m.
really get down. Boy, that was a party song back in the day. Little Marvin Gaye got to give it up. You're listening to the Weekly Sports Magazine. I'm Dynamic Dave. I'm here every Thursday, 5 to 7 p.m. talking sports. Football season around the corner. I'm so excited. And, you know, speaking of which, the Arizona Cardinals this past week hired Dr. Jen Welter as a training camp preseason intern, coaching inside linebackers, making her what is believed to be the first woman to hold a coaching position of any kind in NFL. Welter is a 14-year women's player and a two-time Team U.S. gold medalist. Not sure what that's for, but whatever. She previously attracted national spotlight as the first woman to play a non-kicking position, running back, in a men's professional football league. What league was that? Was that like semi-pro running back? Okay. She went on to become the first woman to coach a men's professional football for the Texas Revolution. And I think they have some. Now Welter prepares for her biggest challenge. She goes on to say that I've been playing this game for some time, but it wasn't something that I dreamed about. It wasn't something that I could ever have envisioned happening. If I had told someone I wanted to be an NFL coach, they would have probably looked at me and said I was crazy. So congratulations to Jen Welter. The question is, will she be able to coach inside linebackers? You know, there's a big argument. You can go back and forth and say, well, how can she coach men? She's never played the game. Well, she did play apparently semi-pro. The game is the game. You know, I think what it will boil down to is whether or not men will accept her coaching. Because I know men who won't accept guys who have never played the game, and there are some great coaches out there who've never played the game. I can tell you one right off the bat. This is NBA. Greg Popovich didn't play professionally. Did y'all know that? So you got to be careful, you know, because you have a lot of athletes that they'll get on the media people sometimes and say, "Hey, how do you know what's going on out there? You've never played the game." If you observe enough, I mean, look, football isn't rocket science. Like I can look at a rocket science problem and I can look at it for 5 years and probably never solve it. I can probably solve it. But football, if you look at it enough, you can figure out what's going on. And if you participate in it, you kind of know what's going on. It's really simple. It's not that complicated. So the fact that she actually participated in the game as a player, you know, I mean, you know, I'm not saying that she doesn't know the game. I think the question is going to be whether or not men will accept her coaching. And I know there are a lot of men who will not. Let's be realistic. Would you look? You guys who have young men, would you want your son to play on a high school football team that the head coach is a woman? I think there are one or two of them in the country. But would you accept that? I'm just curious. Would you want your head coach of the Pony League baseball team to be a woman? Now, I know this is a little bit more in depth, but I'm just asking the question because this hire really brings up some interesting dichotomies with men. And here's the only thing that I have a problem with. And I understand what the NFL is doing and trying to get everybody involved, and everybody loves the NFL. But here's the thing for me. And most guys won't say this, but you know, see, sports used to be our refuge. You know, we used to go and sit and watch a game, and we didn't have to have all this politically correct crap. It was sports. Men cussed, they grabbed their jocks, you know, they spat, they chewed tobacco, all of those things. It was a man's game. And certainly there were women who participated in it, the high steppers of Little Rock Central, cheerleaders, dance teams. All of that stuff was fantastic. It's fantastic. And it brings the pageantry of sports. But it's really about the game. And what has occurred in sports, and I think what is frustrating me, along with a lot of men that I talk to, is that, look, it's not that we're Neanderthals or that we don't want women to be able to participate in the game the best way they can. It's just that we want our sport back. We want our place where we can go and hide. We can go to the game with the boys, or we can be in that arena and talk sports. I'll be honest with you. ESPN has hired a lot of females to do different shows. Some of them I can't watch because I'm in the media and they ask the obvious questions. But then when you hear some of them doing play-by-play, which does occur, do you watch? It's a sound thing. It's an auditory thing. It's a feeling that the voice of a male brings to, and certainly that'll change as more women start doing it. And I'm not against it at all. But I'm just simply kind of saying what some men want to say that are afraid to say it because they'll be looked at as a Neanderthal. But I agree with a lot of them. I want my sports back. I don't want politics in sports. I don't want domestic violence. I don't want drugs, gangs, none of that stuff. When I turn away from the news channels, I don't want Caitlyn. When I turn away from those channels, I just want to see hitting. I want to hear some pads cracking and some cussing. I want to see somebody slamming the ball and some cussing. I want to see somebody hitting a home run and some cussing. I want to see somebody hitting a slap shot, scoring, and the goalie cussing. Y'all understand? You get the point. And I think that's why there are a lot of men now who were diehard fans. They start kind of steering away from football my age. Just like, hey, man, I don't want to watch it. And then, as I said last week, here's what I do now. I basically start recording the game, and then I'll come and watch the game 30 to 45 minutes after it has started on my DVR. That way I can go through a lot of the pregame fluff, and certainly I can get through some of the commercials, because my God, the commercials are some of them funny. But they just drone on and on and on. So that's how I watch games. So I can basically watch a football game. It usually runs about 2 hours and 45 minutes. I can cut it down to get one. Those constant punt series. I really want to watch that stuff. So that's how I kind of combat the drama that they've inserted into sports over the last 10, 15 years. Thanks, ABC. Disney. And I'm just saying what a lot of men would say, a lot of men want to say, is that we want our refuge, we want our sports back. And that's all I'm saying. I'd like to be able to watch sports now without the drama that goes along with it. But here we are. Here we are. It's going to continue. I know. Nothing we can do about it. I know. But at least football season's here, and I can get some things, like the NFL Red Zone. Probably one of them. It would be great if they could do a college Red Zone, but it's just simply impossible because there's so many college football games all around the country. But the NFL Red Zone was probably the best thing ever created. Maybe 70s. That didn't beat. But it is, because it's no commercials. They show you all of the touchdowns that are scored every day. I mean, every game. And you can sit there and watch the Red Zone and just have a ball and not get any commercials. That is a man's dream. At least it is to me. So that's how I watch a lot. So I'm just saying. So anyway, it's been fun. We got a few minutes to go in the game, but I mean in games. I told you. Oh, I mentioned the fact. Let me quickly tell you this. So ex-football players have this thing that no matter what level you played on, and the longer you play, now I know a lot of people now play on turf. Back in the day, we played on grass, right? And when you smell grass, it's something about the heat and the grass this time of the year that kind of makes you feel kind of weird. It kind of makes you start kind of jerking a little bit. So I was walking by this lawn earlier yesterday, and they had just mown the grass, and the aroma of the fresh cut grass with this slight hot breeze blowing on my skin, it made me get down in the 3-point stance. It really did. An audible started going through my mind. You know, what defense do I need to call? What coverage are we in? It just came automatically, and I started. Ah! That's what happens to ex-football players. I'm serious. You think I'm kidding? I asked my friends who played, no matter what level, they say the same thing, man. It's just weird. And each of us have this different response. It's just weird. It's funny. So I got out of the 3-point stance, and then I started backpedaling because I played quarterback, and I was looking for the cut back. I mean the cut block or the crack back block. It was crazy, dude. I am not kidding you. So if you're driving down the street and you see a couple of old guys like tossing the football around, they're working out. They're doing figure 8 crabs. Those who played at Little Rock Central knows about those figure 8 crabs. If you see that guy, then you know what's up. He's had a flashback. It's like, it's crazy. It really is. But anyway, it's been fun. Don't forget to join me Saturday morning on joinnetradio.com. We got head coach from Tennessee State Tigers on Saturday morning. We'll probably have some other guests, and I think we're going to get a return appearance from Cheerleader Girl on Saturday morning as well. Hey, look, stay tuned for Throwback Thursday coming up here in just a moment. It's been fun. It's been grand. And remember, brilliant minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people.
Listening to the weekly sports page with the dynamic David Coleman. Tune in every Thursday afternoon from 5 to 7 p.m. See you next week.
See y'all later.